It's time to show you the current state of my visual walkthrough app again. Visual walkthrough app for what? I'm glad you ask. So today I want to show you how to go from this to this. Or in another language. Or in dark mode. Or in another language and dark mode. To not record the same video over and over again with slight changes, I created myself a visual walkthrough app that helps me to create those videos by defining steps and then programmatically recording the video based on the steps I define. To show you how my visual walkthrough app works in practice, let's work with a real-world example. So let's say you have a customer that wants you to create a walkthrough video for their website. Sounds like a really nice job, so let's have a look at the website. Here you can see the website. The website is check if your dog is a good dog, and there you can enter a dog name, for example, Mitch, and then you can check if the dog is a good dog. So Mitch is definitely a good dog. I thought so. Also, you have some toggles for dark mode, and also you can change the language. But since the customer didn't request any specifics there, basically the walkthrough will be typing in the dog's name and checking it. So that is one video recording you would do, right? But more often than not, it's not that simple. So you send the video and then the customer is like, yeah, that's perfect, but can you record another version for the dark mode? So you basically have to go back to the website, switch to dark mode, and then do all the steps again. So we're already duplicating the work there. And as you can expect, we're not stopping there. So after we recorded the dark version, the customer asked like, hey, but there is also a Spanish version. So how about that? So now we're having to create a light version in English, a light version in Spanish, a dark version in English, and a dark version in Spanish, and then typing the name for all of them and then checking if it works. So this work accumulates. And the cherry on top then is once you have done everything that the customer requests, like, hey, that is almost perfect. Just do everything again and use Frieda as the name and not Mitch. So if you have ever created videos, that is not uncommon. And it's fair enough. Like as a customer, you maybe don't have a right vision what you want in the end, and it's your job to guide them through it. But often it's that you have to create the video first in order to get a feedback loop going and then doing it again. My problem always is that I have to remember the steps and then type it correctly and so on. So that's why I created the app. Now I want to go behind the scenes and I want to show you how I create the visual walkthrough video for the Good Dog website. So here we are on the website. On the bottom, you see the interface of my application, which is basically a browser extension. So you can use it on any website. And you start by clicking Create Steps. And then you can choose between two modes. One mode is to define steps on elements. So while you're hovering over the website, you get different elements shown. And the other variant is to go by coordinates. So there you have completely freedom where you post the steps. So let's go with on element. If you remember the video from the beginning, then we want to move to the input field, type some dog name in it, and then click the check button. So these are the three main steps we want to perform. So let's add one step for the input field and then one step for the click. Now I click stop creating because I want to enhance those steps a little bit more. So we're going to the input field. Now we're clicking the three dots and we want to add another step at the position. So that is where we want to type things. Once you click at the expand button there, you can see all the steps that you have set to this element. And there we have two move tos, and the second move to should be a type step. So you can click that one, and then you see all the steps that you currently have, or step types that you currently can use with the application. So you have move to, you have simulate click, you can actually click, we can wait, and we can type text. So that's the one I want to use. There are also like step types that are more for visual appeal, like zooming in. So we can do this in a moment, but for now, let's type the text and then go into the edit type text step settings and type the dog name Frieda. And here the nice thing is, like if I make a typo or something like this, then it's no problem because this is not the part that is recorded, right? So this is the text that will be written out later. So let's save the changes, and now we can play in review. That is a mode where we can see basically how things are going so far with the steps that we're setting. So the mouse goes to the input field, then we're typing a text, and then we're moving there. We're not clicking it because I haven't adjusted that step yet. So let's go in here and change this step type to click. And now we can play in review again. And now you will notice something here at the Frieda because we're basically typing again in something that we already typed. Let's check it out. We're going to the input field. We're typing something. Now we're having Frieda, and then we're clicking there. So that is something we need to fix. So either we could go into the interact with website mode and remove that input here before we start again. Or we can go into the type text mode, say clear existing text. So once we have checked this box, then the input field is always cleared. I will reload this page because there is no way of getting rid of that message. And once you reload and you activate the extension again, you see your steps again. So that's a nice thing. Like it's persistent even with a reload. You can also save the steps and load them from file. So that way, nothing of your video preparation gets lost. So we have moved to the input field. We're typing text Frieda after clearing the input, and then we're clicking here. And now I want to add one other effect, maybe on the last step, and that is a zoom in. So I want to do this at the position that we're having later after it. So let's play this in review. For now, we're typing Frieda and then we're clicking. And now I want to add another step for this element. And here I want to zoom in and then zoom out again. So we have a nice zoom in and zoom out effect. So first zoom in and then zoom out. Let's reload the page, open up the application, and now you see a little quirk, and that is my app telling you that the elements where you are performing those zoom steps are not there at the moment because this element only appears when you're performing something. And that is where the coordinates can come into play. So let's first check out if that works. We're moving to the input field, we're pressing the button, and then we're zooming in and zooming out. So that works, but the quirk here is it still shows those little red dots. So what we can do is we can go into that step. If we're getting into that field, which currently, yeah. So this is our zoom in. Let's delete that step. All right. And here we have our zoom out. Now it kind of recalculated in the background and finds this element again, but still I want to remove that step for now. Okay. And instead, I want to create a new step based on coordinates. So there I can basically place it wherever I want. So let's do it somewhere here. Stop creating and then add another step at this position. And again, change it to zoom in and zoom out. Let's reload again and open up the application. There we go. Maybe now instead of pressing play, let's record the video. So the video recording is done in the browser. So everything is on your computer and there is nothing sent to any servers or something like that. Everything happens there. And basically in the background of your browser, it's the same as if you press play, except now we're also recording what we're seeing. So let's press record video. And then all the steps are performed for you. So this is not me doing anything. It's everything there. And then you get prompted with saving the video, which is an MP4 file. All right, let's save this. And now it's no problem to redo the same video for dark mode and in a different language. So again, let's reload the page in order to put it into the state that it was before. And now let's change it to dark mode. For this, I need to interact with the website. So let's go to dark mode and record video. So this is the second video we were creating. Again, I'm not doing anything. It's the application recording this video for me. So that is our dark mode. Let's save it and reloading the page again, getting the application in. And now we want the Spanish version first in light mode. Record the video. And there we go. So now we can also do the same variant again in the dark mode, but you get the idea. So this is basically how you can record a bunch of videos for a website in different languages and different modes with just defining the steps and then letting the videos be recorded for you. The last advantage that I see is also if there is a request for something changed, like a different name, for example, like we saw before. And that way, it's no problem to just change the typing text. Or if you want to have an additional step in there, you can always add steps in between there. So that's what I wanted to show you for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.